The Raw are playing.
Well, we're on, guys.
Big deal.
Norman,
Hello, everybody.
how are we all?
G'day.
So the 1.1 or 1.2 million people that have viewed the Eyes on Cricket Network, thank you very much. And we've been on there for 5 hours now. Look, I've got, of course, two of my, I shouldn't say my favourites, because Michael and Harry might watch this when I get in trouble. But
Nah,
Doofus,
we're
George,
the
and Sarah's,
favourites.
how are
We're
you?
the favourites.
Favourites, all right.
That's it. And go Queensland. For those who didn't realise last week, we had to finish early to watch Queensland smash New South Wales in the state of origin. And to all the New South Wales people,
Yeah.
but back to
It's
cricket.
the one thing that Queensland has to do. One thing they've got all year is the state of origin. They've got nothing else going.
That's
All
it. That's all we need. That's
And
all
they
we
do it
want.
well.
And Giuseppe, come and help me out. You can't. Have you spelled your name correctly? Is it G-U-I or I-O-U? What is it?
No, it's G-I-U.
By you.
Okay.
Papa
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe spells it wrong, mate. I'm telling you.
Well, there you go.
There you go, bloody Papa Giuseppe.
Yeah. And,
I'll show you this back. Look at the signatures on it. Do you know who the signatures are? Who's the top
Yeah, well,
one?
they're not mine.
Arthur Morris, who was
Arthur
the batter
Morris.
with. He died. He was 93. He batted
didn't
with.
he invent the Morris Minor?
Arthur, not Morris Minor. Glenn McGrath.
Oh.
And where's it?
Oh. Well, what's that? He's 63 not out.
And then this is Jeff Thompson.
No. Good on Tomo.
You gonna sell the bat?
Nah, I'll keep it.
It wouldn't be worth much.
Well,
Yeah.
Arthur Morris's would. He's probably the most. It'd be the most expensive one on that, really, because he's passed away, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And behind me,
true.
that one there is Shane Warne and Murali.
Which one?
One here. There, that one there.
Oh.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
Shane Warne Murali. Obviously, that's Bradman there.
Yeah. Did you steal that off someone?
No, I didn't sell. Although I have a bit of a story with this one here. So I don't really care. It's been so many years later they can go get stuff. I actually got that one behind me there. I actually purchased it, right? When Murali and Warne had some sort of record, I think 700 or whatever it was. It would have been at least, well, something like 10 to 15 years ago. I bought it, and I bought it through the mail. And then that was I think it arrived on the Wednesday. The next Monday, someone delivers another framed picture, and I'm going, oh no, it's not. I've already got one. And my astrologer said, don't say a word. So I said, thank you, and I accepted it. I had two of the same one.
Fantastic.
Where's the other one?
I've got it in an actual box, so I haven't opened it up.
Oh, you think it's going to be worth more money?
So they gave me two instead of one. I just didn't. Cool. All right. So anyway, all right. Sam Heslett, he's been with me. Just saying hello to Doofus. Australia versus Pakistan final.
Go to Queenslanders. Good on you, Sam.
Yeah, he's a bit disappointed, a bit sad. It can only be one state, and that's Queensland, to be honest.
That's it.
Brendan Paul Weller, we can beat South Africa, Norman, believe. I've got no doubt we can.
Oh.
Well, they did.
Why didn't
They
he
did
get
beat England.
Ralph Jansen? Well, I have got Doug Walters on other things, but yeah, I can get him to sign it.
Yeah.
Now,
So do you see the so talking cricket, obviously? So you see the World Cup teams now have been finalised.
Yes.
have they?
Yeah.
Sri Lanka got there.
Sri Lanka got there. Zimbabwe are there now.
Oh, right.
West
Oh.
Indies.
Netherlands.
Who else was there? Netherlands. Yeah, I think that's all the rest of them.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. Look, what do you think of the team that they picked for the one-day series, Australia, for Cairns and Townsville?
Yeah.
Oh, it's dumb. Extremely dumb.
Predictable. They haven't done anything really interesting.
And
They
the
haven't put
ordinary,
themselves out there.
Munchie's just said something. That
yeah, come on, Munchie. It's not that hot. 40 degrees.
When-
Mate, about time he's bloody got a bit of heat. It's 40 degrees every day in summer up here, mate, and about 1,000% humidity. Oh, the poor things, we're getting hot. Oh, what a fuck. But to be honest, like their houses are made to keep the heat in. 40 degrees. I mean, they'll all be dying. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say that because there will be people, unfortunately, not very well from it. But yeah,
No, they really.
but,
You guys really struggle with the heat, Munchie. We were talking about it today at work, and just amazing how different like that we're set up.
yeah.
But, even with the fires, you think of those people over there at the moment with the fires, how it's really, really bad.
Well, where they played the one day yesterday between England and South Africa is the most northernest cricket field, international cricket field. And they were up about 38, 39 degrees. So the poor old bloody spectators were all looking for shade and a tree to sit underneath, and they had to go out and buy water from them and all the rest of it. So, yeah, it wouldn't have been much fun for those people.
No.
It was Chesterfield Street was the location, actually.
Yeah.
So
So
Bunker West Indies, Islands, a land and an Aussie group. So Ireland's in there, obviously Netherlands is in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why with the World Cup they have like a pre-round and then they have the group.
Oh,
I don't.
Like it
What do you
just
ask?
doesn't make any sense to me. I don't like once you qualify for the World Cup, you should be playing in your, in the group, and like it's as if they're
Qualify. They just put qualifiers. You qualify, you go into that group. It's as simple as that.
yeah.
well, I suppose, yeah, there is the group stage with, so I dare say the top two from each group will go into the what they call them the Super 12.
Yeah.
So
Super Sixes.
So you got Namibia, Netherlands, Sri Lanka, and UAE in one group, and you got Ireland, Scotland, Windies, and Zimbabwe in the other group. So
I thought you said chlamydia. They're not Namibia. Sorry.
They're not koalas. They're not koalas.
Chlamydia, I wouldn't. They're untouchable. I would. They'd be untouchable, mate.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they actually go.
Who would you like to replace Stokes in the ODI? Why don't you answer that?
Yeah, why is he retired?
Well,
he's playing a lot of cricket.
He's overworked. He doesn't need the money now. Before he wasn't the captain, he's probably gone up another couple of $100,000 in pay scale, and now he thinks, well, I don't need to play ODIs. Why kill myself? And I'll just play the test matches and maybe a couple of T20s here and there. And he's laughing. But they have played a lot of cricket.
Yeah, just recently.
They've played New Zealand, India, and now they've got South Africa, like all within 6 weeks. Like,
too much.
Really?
Yeah.
Too much.
Way too much.
Yeah. So
I think because they've got that stupid 100, which I hate, and it just adds to the problem. Okay, so.
But that's not a lot of their internationals are playing that though, are they? Really?
No. All Currans are away. So he's coming out Sam and Tom currently. Stokes was starting the workload and playing schedule. Was stating okay.
The workload and playing as to why he's retired.
Yeah, well,
exactly the same words I use. The stupid 100 coming up. I agree.
So the 100, that's the
It's a weird format. I don't like it.
Yeah.
like that's their local stuff.
Well, domestic, yeah.
Yeah, domestic.
It's on
But
top of their
international-
team. But they've already got a T20 competition as well. So this is another competition
I know.
they're playing.
That's dumb.
They've always played too much cricket in England, like really.
Yeah,
But
I think
anyway,
they overdo it. They kill it.
yeah, they'll kill it. But even saying that, you look at the South Africa have got their T20 comp starting our summer, I guess, and each one of their teams has been bought by an IPL team.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep, each one. So their fingers are everywhere. But yeah, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't think that's particularly a good thing.
Well, Australia's trying to avoid that through the control of Cricket Australia and Cricket New South Wales and Queensland Cricket and the like. They own the teams.
They own the
rather than-
teams. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Sixers and Thunder are both under Cricket New South
Yeah.
Wales.
Look, at the end of the day, money talks. Eh?
Well, yeah, but is it a good thing? Like, do you want, like, I suppose it becomes a bit like Manchester City if we're talking about like a soccer team where they've got a team in Australia, a team in wherever, all over the world.
They've
Now
got a
in
team in
Italy as
Australia,
well.
America. They've got a team in Spain. They've got a team in Italy now.
Italy now, yeah. So
they've got their
it's
fingers everywhere. It's just
so is that I don't necessarily agree that's a good thing, but I suppose as you say, it's all money. So South African. But if they want to pull out, then what happens there? Like if all of a sudden the Mumbai Indians don't want that team anymore, and they sell it for, I'd say for a profit, then that money unfortunately goes back to India rather than staying in South Africa. So in that sense, it's not a good thing.
no, and all it does is it monopolizes the market. You know, it's I'm with you. I
It'd
really
be interesting to see whether the Mumbai Indians then send some of their players, their ones that might be on the
fringe.
on the fringe players down to there to get some practice and then bring them back or whatever the case is there. So that would be interesting to see how that all pans out. But it's not just the Mumbai Indians. I think Chennai took one of the teams, and I'm not sure which of the six did, but they're all IPL teams.
Well, the same thing happened in the Caribbean Premier League too. Most of the Indian franchises have got ownership there as well.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Yeah, I just
the CPL. The only thing that's different, of course, is the PSL, Pakistan Super League. They've got their own thing going on.
Yeah,
plenty of money there. I mean, don't forget, Pakistan's population is 230 million or something. It's huge.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, that's right.
So they can afford to have their own comp. They don't really need to be there.
Like you got to look at it realistically. We're probably the smallest of nations out of the powerhouses.
Oh,
I think.
for sure. Apart from New Zealand, there's probably what population has Sri Lanka got, Norm?
Same as Australia.
They're about the same as Australia.
Yeah.
So
the win more people playing cricket per capita there than we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
and then I suppose the two smallest nations, probably out of the Test playing nations, is New Zealand and the Windies, I'd say.
True.
Because they're made up, obviously, of a whole heap of different nations, but they're having issues because, a lot of their youngsters are playing basketball rather than getting into cricket and that sort of stuff. So but that's no different in Australia, where we got 4 or 5 major sports that they can move into as well.
Well, we have 3 summer sports, and that's our biggest problem. So
3?
Yeah, 3.
What?
Well, we have football, soccer.
Football, yeah.
You've got cricket.
Yep.
Basketball.
Oh, yeah, basketball's, yeah.
Summer.
Yeah.
Rugby union internationally is a crossover.
Yeah, well, yeah. They started.
That's a good point when Munchie bring up. The 100's good for the ladies' game. That's established women's cricket very well. but it's probably not the same for the men.
Yeah, it's like 100 balls. What's that? That doesn't even divide into it's
They
25
actually have
ball
five
overs.
ball overs, 25 ball overs, and they bowl from one end twice as well. So it's rather.
Oh,
Mm,
So they bowl 2 overs from one end, 2 5
yeah,
ball overs. In fact, I
suppose
think they
it's
all 10. I think all 10 overs are from one end, and then they go the other end, and
yeah.
they don't go back and forth.
I suppose
Just
the
not
one
like
good
that,
thing,
that'll
yeah,
be the bowl.
the fielders aren't running around and that sort of stuff, so it'd be a lot quicker, I guess, and that sort
Yeah,
of stuff.
that's the main reason.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
So
make it different. It makes it no different in the end, and it's just
no,
annoying because it doesn't really achieve anything. It might speed a little bit anyway. So this thing I've got on the board there is the latest World Test Championship.
Yeah, I was watching that.
There's the Test ranking, which Australia's number one, but in this system, for some strange reason, the way it works, South Africa on top. Now they played last night against England, and they actually did very well. But I still don't rate them, and I reckon Australia will smash them in Australia, and I think Pakistan will not Pakistan, yeah, England.
well, they've played. I think they've played the least amount of
Test matches.
test matches as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're playing England in a few weeks' time, and I think England in Test format will do a very good job against them. So, okay, South Africa's first, Australia's second. Pakistan, because of their win against Sri Lanka, have moved up to third, ahead of India. West Indies, Sri Lanka, England, New Zealand, and gone to Bangladesh. So,
No,
realistically, yes.
it's South Africa, Australia, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, India, Windies, England, New Zealand, Bangladesh. Is that what you said?
Yep, that's what it says. It's on the screen.
Well, Pakistan's fourth.
No, they've just gone to third.
No, I've got
You
the.
You need to
Maybe
refresh,
You need
George.
to refresh
Well,
because
this is from Crick Buzz, and
no,
it's the
okay,
points
go
that's
to
from
ICC.
today.
Go to ICC.
All right.
If you're going to
But
do it,
anyway, okay.
if you're going to do it, do it properly.
If you go to my community page, I've just posted it on my community page.
Sorry, yes, Pakistan is third, India fourth, Windies fifth, Sri Lanka sixth. I'm sorry.
So what's going to transpire here is South Africa play England next, right? And we're expecting, unless something dramatic, England should beat South Africa. Now, if that's the case, it's going to dent South Africa's position. And then ultimately, Australia play them later this year. That is South Africa, and will dent them as well. So what's probably going to happen is South Africa will fall away, and then Pakistan and India will stay, what will become, say, second and third, right? Australia will be first. But if India beat Australia in the series they're going to play, convincingly enough, which they're expecting, India will jump Australia and Pakistan will also go up, and it could well be Pakistan versus India in the World Test Championship. Well, that's what the predictions are based on all the machinations which we're seeing. It means Pakistan have to do well against England in Pakistan, which I'm expecting them to do so. Pakistan beat Sri Lanka in the second test, which I reckon they will, and India beating Australia, which I think they will at home.
Especially at home.
Yeah, and if they keep bloody Travis Head, they won't have a freaking hope.
Well, you'll be glad to know he's not in the one-day side.
Yeah, because his wife's having a baby. He's got some excuse. I think many people have been commenting about the bloody thing that we've got the games in Townsville and Cairns against Zimbabwe, New Zealand, and Warner, Labuschagne, Smith. They're all playing. Why? Why wouldn't you blood some of the young guys for that tournament?
Because it's an absolute rort. If you don't take your best team, your best national team.
At the end of the day, it's still an Australian side, so you've got to pick your best available team. It's not fair on the spectators and that sort of stuff. We're going to pay a lot of money to go see these players. They want to see the best Australian time. If they want to make it an Australian A side and try and blood players through that, well then that's fine. As long as you tell people it's an Australian A side.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'll accept that.
That was what I was going to say exactly. You can't expect people to go and watch a game and you call it Australia versus New Zealand and it's a second string Australian side. because it always happens in regional areas where you'll take a game and then
Yeah,
you
I accept all that, but I'm more talking about. I think some of those players need to move on. I think it's.
Oh,
I think
that's a different issue then. Yeah, that's right. Because well, I don't believe Finn should be there. I know he's the captain and that sort of stuff, but look at the figures don't lie. And if it was any other player, he would have got the sack long time ago.
well,
He
let's
hasn't
go.
made it.
at the end of
early
the
on.
day, at the end of the well, realistically, at the end of the day, you look. Australia have sort of shown their cards a little bit because if they were going to pick some random player, they would take them to that series. So that squad pretty much will be the squad that they take to the World Cup.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Is there any test matches being played?
No, they're all one days.
They're all one days.
All right.
The next, we don't play South Africa until after the World Cup.
Don't we play India as well at some stage?
Yes, we played them before, but it's only in a one-day format or T20.
Right, so we're not playing them in a format in India. We are, but when that?
Yeah, but we're playing India here.
No.
Test match? No.
No, not
We're
the
playing,
test match.
we're
In
playing
the
Pakistan
one.
and West Indies here in test matches.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not sure. We need to find out. Okay. Well, look, okay, they're asking about Zampa coming back. Of course he is. He's the best short form spin bowler we've got, and we should definitely coming back. Waiting for India, West Indies first ODI, Port Spain. Is that happening tonight? Is that match Amlan Bora? Is that happening tonight?
Which one?
India versus West Indies.
No, I don't think so.
There's not.
Series. Which one? India. India, West Indies.
Yeah.
Fixtures. Doesn't start till the 22nd of July. For a couple of days' time.
Friday.
Yeah, that's the one day as start. So they got the one day as first. Then they got T20s. And that's it. No test matches.
I love Robert M. It's time Travis Head gets dropped, I agree. Mose and Ali, I hope Bubba will soon realise Abdullah Talib. Abdullah Shafiq, we'll talk about that in a minute. We haven't talked about that at all. It's been amazing. I honestly see it's dropping young players like Travis Head's not that young. Who said yet Travis Head's young?
Yeah, Travis Head's bloody. Oh, let me find out.
Well, he's young according to Australian cricket.
Well, compared to.
Well, he's young and he hasn't played young in his test career. But I suppose he's only 28 years old.
He's very young.
I wouldn't call that young.
Well, it's a lot younger than you and I.
Well, we know that. I don't need to be reminded about that. Thank you very much.
You are the oldest one here, man.
And I don't need to be reminded about my age. Okay. So, yes, Munchie could be the start of the downfall with this change of captain. And this is about Ben Stokes. So, well, it was actually about Owen Morgan, not Ben Stokes. Owen Morgan was the captain, and now Josh Butler is. And they played pretty poorly against South Africa and against India. But look, I'm not worried. I think their test renaissance has been amazing. I just think Matthew Mott, the new coach of the England short form, is an overrated coach. He's coached the Australian women's team, who had a bloody good side. It wasn't because of him. I think he's overrated something horrid. Apparently, he doesn't say a word. He just sits there. I think, well, if you don't fricking say a word, what sort of coach are you?
You're just upset. You're just upset he's a Queenslander, aren't you? Another Queenslander doing well.
No, Matthew Mott, is he a Queenslander?
Yeah, he played for Queensland.
Oh, look, I'm sorry. He's a deadhead. Well, I've seen him in women's cricket, and he looks like he doesn't have a word to say. I'm sorry, he bores me no end.
But he might do all his talking during training and not
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
and not in the
coach,
game.
just because he's coached the Australian women's team doesn't mean that he's suddenly the best coach around.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
it doesn't mean he's a bad coach either.
but even
Oh.
Elise Perry needed some guidance.
No, I don't know.
But there's obviously no good English coaches because the test team's done by New Zealander. The one-day squads are Australian. So what's that say for the coaches in England? They
What do
must
we
be
do? Our assistant coach is bloody the Daniel Vittori.
yeah, but our main coach is still an Australian.
Yeah, but why have we got Daniel Vittori then?
Because
Why
he
not?
lives in Australia and he loves Australia.
Oh, now you're defending. You just hypocritically have said something, but I've just defeated it by saying, well, we picked bloody Vittori.
Yeah, but fair enough. But still, our head coach is an Australian, whereas the English, both head coaches are overseas coaches. I know you picked the best man for the job, but surely, and their rugby union coach is an Australian.
Eddie Jones is coaching.
And who's their bloody? I'm pretty sure their rugby league coach is an Australian as well. So they've got no one
He
coaching.
is. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they probably think that they need to be like other people. I don't know. It seems to be. It seems. Look, then you got Silverwood who coached England, now coaching Sri Lanka. It's like a damn circus. It just goes.
Yeah,
around.
it is. Look, to be honest, I think like club is different or state is different compared to international. And I think for international, you need like your own coach, not an outsider.
Mm.
Yeah,
Maybe have
But
maybe have someone as your
pick up all these
assistant coach
national
who's
coaches.
overseas or something. But your head coach, you want
As-
your the
from your
people,
country.
your supporters, someone to sort of think, oh well, he's ours, so he's given them our ideas and our
Yeah, you want
philosophies.
someone you can relate to.
Yeah,
But hang on a minute. I mean, we in soccer, we have a Dutch coach one year, an English coach the next. I mean, England coaches or England, that much he's just said. I think it depends on the strength of the sport, to be honest with you. And I think that we're desperate when it comes to football.
Yeah, but you have to remember too, we're still a very much a developing country in that aspect. We're not we're not like a very
we're not in England,
country. Not like England or in Europe where you got Germany, Italy, Spain, where they're developing so many coaches, players. We don't have that. We draw from a very small pool where now our development is better, where we can go to have our own coach and it
even
be
though it's shit.
yeah, look,
okay.
he's shit, but we qualified for the World Cup, so you have to give credit where credit's due, whether you like it or not. At the end of the day,
right, it's about getting results, not who's coaching.
Well,
look,
yes and no.
You want it done in a style that people can think, oh, at least he's one of ours, and we've got him through, and he's our coach, and whether that's good or bad. But yeah, I don't know. I like to see
Kevin Walls go. I mean, the Broncos have always been incestuous with their coaches.
Yeah, but I like Kevin Walters. And Kevin Walters is, and the fact why he becomes successful is because he is a Bronco. Like he instills the club into the players to make the players understand what the club is. So you play for the club, the people, the supporters, everything that's about that. And that's what I think is good about Kevin Walters. Same as the Queensland coaches, Billy Slater. Exactly the same thing. It's not about how good you are. It's about how you can get the best out of those players.
That's true.
Is that right, George?
You'll never get a New South Wales coach coaching Queensland ever. We've had New Zealand coaches, but
Yeah,
no,
Graham
not Graham Lyle. But we'll never have a New South Wales, and
never.
a Queenslander will never coach New South Wales either.
Yeah,
I'll never see that happen. Not in my day.
Unless you want to put the
Unless it's a Greg Inglis who thinks he's New South Wales, he's a Queenslander by New South Wales and vice versa.
he's playing here at Maxville. He is, and Sam Burgess is coaching Aurora here, and
All right.
they had a top of the table clash, and he was on the news before they played on the weekend. He goes, "Oh, we've got some tricks up our sleeves," and I'm looking, going, "Mate, if it's not for what's name funding you to be here, you wouldn't even be here." You know, we got Russell Crowe. That's
that's it.
But yeah, they got their ass kicked on the weekend.
Oh, I mean, look, but I think coaching is one thing, but it's the players which we really should talk about. All right, let's just
At the end of the day, the coach, coach has done a little bit, but with cricket, especially, it is a team game, but it's still very individual in the sense that you're the one out there batting or you're the one out there bowling. It's what's the coach isn't out there saying, "Oh, you should be doing this every second ball." It's you're out there, you're playing it how you see it, and rightly or wrongly, then it's on your back. But unfortunately, if you're not playing well and the team's not doing well, it reflects badly on the coach, which is pretty hard in a cricket sense because
doesn't have a great deal of effect while you're playing.
No. And it's not as if you can put in a strategy like when you're playing rugby league, soccer, or that sort of stuff where you can play a certain style of football or whatever. Whereas in cricket, you can play an up-tempo style of cricket if you like, but there's not much you can do. Like, it's out there, you're bowling the ball. If you bowl a bad ball, it's not the coach's fault. He can tell you, put it in a certain area against a certain batsman, and if you're not doing that, well, then it's the individual. It's not the.
That's right. Because what would a coach do? The coach with his team would analyse the opposition, and they would come up with plans on how to get you out, or with if you're a batsman being bowled at, what's the best way to attack the bowler?
Yeah. How to restrict their flow of runs or something.
Okay, so you're saying
plans, but if you don't stick with those plans, you won't get the results. So how does the coach then get blamed for that? It's different.
Okay, definitely. Fair enough. All right, let's move back to this game between Sri Lanka and Pakistan for a moment. Pakistan scored 6 for 344 on the final day of a test in Gaul after Australia couldn't muster 150. They're out cheaply. Now, I don't think there were different wickets necessarily. There couldn't be that dramatic a difference within a few weeks.
No, I wouldn't think so.
No. So it just shows a bit of application by the Pakistani batters to get the score.
Well, Abdullah Shafiq made 160 not out.
It was pace that won the game as well.
What do you mean?
Well, with Pakistan, they didn't use a great deal of spin bowling.
Well, Yashir Shah.
Yeah, but they like you read all the reports and the reports were saying that.
Well, Nawaz got 5 wickets, and he's again. We said this last time. Left arm orthodox bowler does really well in there, and again he's taken 5 wickets.
But that Prabhath Jayasuriya of Sri Lanka took 2 sets of 6 against Australia in the last match, and then 5 and now 4 in this match. Unbelievable.
Yeah, what was it? What were his figures? I was reading the stats for
6 for 5 for 4 for. He
got
a 5 last innings. He was the first bowler ever to start their Test career with 4 fifers.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yes. So, like the wickets that he took for the runs that he conceded, and the same with what's known with the bat. spoke about how many runs, like he'd scored 600 odd runs in a certain amount of tests, and you just go, that's ridiculous.
Abdul Shafiq has played 6 Test matches. He's hit 800 runs.
Yeah, there was something like that.
He has
And
a
you just
batting
go, like, ridiculous. And you're going, wow.
But
But look, at the end of the day, once again, it just shows how poor we are.
Yeah, that's Shafi. It's only his 6th match, and he's averaging 40. Not bad for a 22-year-old just starting out. So 720 runs in 11 innings. So
who's that?
Not bad. That's this Shafiq, Abdullah Shafiq.
He's got a batting average of 80 at the moment.
No, 40. Oh, strike rate of 40, average of 80. Sorry, you're right. Yeah. So 450s and 200s in 11 innings.
The hundreds he's got, it's the way he's got the hundreds. He batted the entire day today for his 169 out, as well as the previous day. He batted throughout the entire innings. He's apparently I've watched him play against Australia. He was superb there. And
but the wickets in Pakistan were bloody roads.
No, not Sri Lanka. They're not a road.
No, but in Pakistan they were.
Yeah, but he's done well in Sri Lanka as well now. So
let's see how well he goes on a big bouncy wicket in Perth or Brisbane.
Well, he might not do as well, but he's still a good bat.
Yeah, but you got to be good. I know. In saying that, we struggle in India, or we Australians struggle in spinning conditions, but as will most Asian players, they struggle in Australia with the bouncy pitches. It's just the way it is. They're not used to it, and they're not brought up on it.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
So we can't expect us to go to these places where low, slow spinning wickets and expect us to win. We don't have the batsmen, and B, we don't have the bowlers.
But forgetting where it is, Abdul Shafiq has batted fantastically. Okay.
But you've got to take into those conditions because he's used to those spinning conditions. As I said, you bring him out there.
All he can do is bat.
You're pissing North off. Stop it.
I mean, Dave Warner does well in Australia too. But he's not doing shit overseas, isn't he? So, we can talk the same way about Warner.
Exactly. That's what I said. That's what I said. I said Australians do shit over there because we're not used to the conditions as well when they come here. So we can't expect Pakistan to come and win in Australia. But the other side is that we can't expect Australia to go to Pakistan and win either because we're not used to those conditions.
No.
I actually think this time round, Pakistan are going to do well. Why? Because they've got bowlers like Shaheen and Harris Ralph, who both bowl well in Australia.
Yeah, but they're both not going to bowl 80 overs each, are they?
And if their batsmen are only getting all out for 120, there's not much to bowl at either.
No. Look, in Pakistan batting lineup, Shafiq and Imam al-Haq, followed by Asar Ali, then to Babar Azam, and Mohammad Rizwan, that top 5, I'm going to say right here and now, I reckon it's the best top 5 in the world.
No. Maybe in Asian conditions, yes, but not all around the world conditions. They haven't. When's the last time they've come out and batted in Australia?
Well, they're coming out.
They haven't. They haven't. Yeah. Well, let's see how they go after this summer, and then
I'll take that back. Not coming out. South Africa and West Indies are coming out.
Yeah, that's right. So they're not here for another 2 years or something. So, I just don't. We'll see how well they go in the T20 competition because a lot of them will be here. But in saying that, the pitches are a little bit more flatter and, well, they're made for batters anyway. So if they can't make runs, then they will never make runs in Australia. So, it's not like they're going to be batting on a first day Gabba wicket in a T20 match, are they? So
I'm going to get you guys to be World Cup roving reporters in Brisbane because we've got no one going up there. We're actually going to go to Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney.
Yeah, well, it's Melbourne Cup Day for a start, and I'll be on the Terps.
Well, you
You'll be
might
on the
drop better for it.
I normally go to the Aussie Nash, which is right next door to the Gabba,
Aussie what?
but the Aussie Nash Hotel. It's across the road from the Gabba.
You know the Aussie
Right.
Nash.
So we'll cross here with the Aussie Nag, and we'll see what.
Yeah, that's it. And I can tell you which nag I put my money on and it's still running. It's the one that runs with 3 legs and running backwards normally.
All right, so you don't rate this match that Pakistan just won?
No. It's not that you don't rate it.
Well, they're now third on the table, and they're going to go
Yeah.
second.
Look,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. They're a good side.
But they've played 4 matches. They've won 4 matches, lost 2, and drawn 2. So they're only at 50%, aren't they? Win
Well,
Pakistan.
yeah, the 2 draws don't make it 50%.
Well, they've played 8 games. They've won 4, so it makes it 50%.
Yeah, but
Win.
they only lost 2, so they can't be 50%.
It's a 50% win ratio.
It's more the 4-2 ratio, which wins the losses that count. The draws probably don't factor in as much. Hence why they're third. Australia's
Australia's 6 out of 10.
Yeah,
Well, they're at 60%.
I hate this. Why go with 70% as their percentage? I don't work out their percentage.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think it's.
and again, South Africa 5 out. Well, they've won 5 out of 7 tests, so at least that's pretty good. They've had no draws. They've either won or lost. How they played 7 games out of 3 series, I'll never know.
Yeah.
What are they playing?
They'll be playing England at home. I think I'm going to do them over for sure.
But what's this 2-match series? Bloody hell, play 3 games at least. Get a winner out of it.
Yeah, get an actual result. This let's play 2. It means really, I don't know. I don't understand why they do it. They played all these 1 days and all these T20s, and then just play 2 test matches.
Well, that's the Asian influence where they like to have the bettors want to bet on bloody 1-day games and T20s rather than test matches.
So just quickly, Sam Heslett's saying, why did they drop the likes of McDermott and Inglis and even Renshaw from the squad going up to Cairns and that? I don't get that.
Well, they've only taken 1 wicketkeeper, so in saying that, they're better off playing rather than just going up to Cairns and Townsville and not playing. They might as well be playing in their club cricket and let's get in some cricket.
There's no club cricket in August.
Fair enough. Is it August that they're playing? I thought it was a bit later.
No, it's in August, September. That's why it's been played. That's why it's been played in Cairns and Townsville because it's.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
okay. But Robert M was right. There's no idea why they've been dropped. They haven't done anything wrong. Pakistan may play whenever that team needs them. Now, it looks like a good state. They did play well where they needed to be.
But yeah.
I would agree with that. There's a few comments here. Jake Edwards has hit 100, and there's a few we have. George Bailey hasn't been. I don't think George Bailey's done a good job.
No, I don't think they're taking the easy road in a lot of the things, which is you look at Australian over the time, and there haven't been too many out of the box, players brought in that. So they normally have to earn their stripes, unless it was in the early 80s where they had no one playing, doing nothing, and they lost a few to the South Africans. But yeah, it's safe, and they've always been safe.
I reckon Alex Carey is not the right long-term keeper, if I'm being honest.
He's got to work on, but the problem is they're either really good batsmen and okay wicket keepers, or they're really good wicket keepers and their batting's not up to scratch. It's hard to get that 50-50 that you need to be, because they're concentrating on trying to be a wicket keeper, then they're not practicing on batting, or if they're batting too much, then their wicket keeping goes off. So it's a really tough spot, but you know.
Oh, we're going to keep this
time.
Munchie says Sawag had an average equal in Australia, which is quite impressive. Your Ashes 2023, 11, doofus.
Yeah, bloody hell. 2023.
Well,
hopefully Warner will be gone, and so we'll need another, maybe Renshaw up the top there. Smith will still be there. Maybe Khawaja. Loose bus change will be there. There won't be a lot of changes.
What do you mean Usman might be there? Usman will be there with bells on. He's a great player.
Well, he's getting on. He's 33. Might not be injuries. I don't know. But we'll be definitely looking at for. Hopefully Warner won't be there, so we'll be looking for at least one opener and maybe a middle order batsman as well. I think Cam Green will be definite, and the bowlers, you can't see too many unless they go down and get injured. Then I don't see that changing a great deal in a couple of years. Well, so it's just the batsman, the opener, and maybe a middle order for your mate Head, because you don't want him there.
Dick.
I even reckon that I think it might even be a little bit difficult for
Smith
to actually make the team.
I think that'll be his last series.
Maybe you're right. Maybe.
I think he'll go one more Ashes, and that'll probably do him. Hopefully Warner won't be there. I think we need something up front a bit better.
I tend to agree. I think, wouldn't it be good if you could find like another Matty Hayden or Justin Langer
combination?
Well, we're going to stop comparing to previous players. And Munchie's right. There won't be another Gilchrist long, so we're going to move away from that.
Yeah, I know. They're once in a lifetime players, but whose lifetime? There should be someone else's lifetime player should be coming through. And they will, but it's just a matter of a rough diamond coming through and giving them the opportunity.
I'm not trying to compare. What I'm saying is you want to look for players that have similar qualities. You're not.
Well, I don't think you can even do that. You know that you really can't. You've got to pick the best player that's out there in the Australian network of domestic seasons and find the best player. It's not really finding a mould of a player, because that's. I mean, when Rod Marsh went, you didn't find someone who was Rod Marsh or Shane Warne. You can't do that. We've got to.
We tried. Look, how many spinners did we go through? But yeah, you're right.
It's very dangerous to start doing that.
Well, it'd be like, but I'm not saying that we need to go and find another Gilchrist or another Matthew Hayden. I'm saying that, yes, you pick the best players that are available at that time. There's no doubt. But I guess with everything as well, with like you look at what what's name's done with England now, they call it Bazball. You're looking that you want the team to play a certain way, so you're looking for players with those types of qualities to play that certain way. If you want attacking cricket where you want your batsman to be quite attacking, you're not going to go and pick a Jeff Marsh that's going to sit there and block the ball all day, are you?
Or a Tavares or a Boycott.
Or a Tavares or whatever. You're going to go and look for a player that's very attacking and flamboyant or whatever. That's what I'm saying.
Brendan McCullum has done, he's looked at what they've got and rejuvenated Bairstow, even Butler to an extent. He's actually done very well with the players that they have. He hasn't necessarily.
No, but I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that if you want a certain style of cricket, you have to have the players to be able to play that way. So what he's done is those players have always had that quality, and he's been able to instill into those players quality how to go about and get the best out of it.
He's given them the confidence to go out and bat the way they can bat, and he's told them, go out and do this.
That's right.
I want you to.
That's exactly right. But McCullum did it here well, not here, but he did it when he was with the Brisbane Heat. You know, they were a very good side while McCullum was there, were they not?
Yeah, definitely.
And that was
he's a very good coach. I'm being honest. I think he instills the right attitude in players. And that's what
he gives them the confidence because they know that he's been there and done that. And if he says, "Look, I think you've got the ability to do A, B, or C that I'm looking for," well, then you're going to go out there and thinking, "Well, if he thinks I can do it, well, I should be able to." That gives me confidence to go out and do it.
Well, prime example: the last time we hosted the World Cup with New Zealand, we played New Zealand in the first game over in New Zealand. He opened, we did, but how many runs did he score when he opened? He absolutely smashed us because he played. It was do or die. You go out there. If you're not going to hit the first ball for six, you're going to at least hit the second ball for six. Yeah. He failed in the semi-final. He got a duck, but he was more successful than he failed, and that's what when you talk stats. You look at that, and that's a big stat, and that's a big tick in his box, and that's where when he talks, you listen because he was successful at doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's obviously done well for England's Test side. Surprisingly, again, I keep knocking Matthew Mott, but he's taken over in England and gone boom, very quickly. Now, what's going on there? I'm afraid Mott has to take some action there because, but they've lost Ben Stokes because of his retirement. They've lost Owen Morgan as captain. They've got Josh Butler. They've got a few changes, but that's not the problem. I think their attitude in the match against England, and even more so last night against South Africa, they were very defensive in the way they played. They weren't as attacking as they normally are, and there's something not right so quickly. Same players who played well for the Test side only days earlier against India and the like, played sensationally, just got a different head on their shoulders all of a sudden. Bairstow looked he still did well, he got 50 on, but he looked a bit circumspect. He didn't look himself. So I'm just wondering.
But is that also because they're playing too much cricket?
I'd say that's the major reason, yes.
But
is that a coach issue or is it a scheduling issue?
Well, it's just far too much.
Raj
put his name from Jammu. He's in Kashmir. That's up the north. What an incredible spot that is. That's right up north. Okay.
But you know what makes that interesting though? Like if you say Matthew Mott's not a very good coach, and you get predominantly all the players from the Test team coming over into the one-day side, into the short form format, it'll be interesting to see then how it transpires when those players leave the short form and go back to the long form, if they are then able to, adapt very quickly and have McCullum's enthusiasm and energy to then play well in the Test form.
I think they missed him. They've gotten used to him in Test cricket where he's got this incredible brand of cricket that they're playing. They've gone to ODI and they've almost looked like they were lost without him. Honestly, there's a distinct, very noticeable change.
Yeah, and I wonder then, I wonder if that will be detrimental to their Test team.
Well, no, I think the Test team's got their head screwed on because they're under Ben Stokes and he's fully supporting that. He's pulled his pin from the ODIs. Mind you, he wasn't captain, it was Josh Butler. But it just seems to me that, I don't know, they've lost their way a bit with the short form, but they're going really well with the Test format. And I don't mind that, really. I think what they're doing is Ben Stokes is playing T20 and Test. He's given up on ODI. I think you're going to find that being a trend. I think a lot of players will play T20 and Test and not ODIs.
Do you think, though, in the long term that the ODIs are done and dusted?
Yes, I honestly do. I think it's too much, and at the end, it's too long a short game. If that makes any sense, it's still a long game for one day. Whereas T20 is the right time frame. We all love tests; they're not going anywhere. But ODIs have lost their flavour. They're a little bit too long.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
you
it's
say
short
that,
format.
but you say that now. But Test cricket 10 years ago was on the outer.
Yeah, but Test cricket should never and will never be on the outer because people realise it's become clear to people who run cricket. They know that cricket will not survive unless Test cricket is in a positive state. Okay?
Yeah,
And women's cricket now, they've realised that they've got to give women the chance to play Test cricket to create a positive state for them as well. And that's working. Powers to be that I talk to think that Test cricket is the way that we'll keep cricket alive, helped by the T20 further. Because if we get rid of Test cricket, we'll lose our way.
look, in all fairness, I prefer to watch Test cricket than any other form of cricket.
So do I.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's a lot more skill involved in Test cricket because the concentration has to be so high because opportunities don't present themselves as often as they do in one day or T20.
T20, that's right. Where T20 one day is the batsman has to push it along to get as many runs, so they're making everything's condensed into 20 overs. So
But what I'm getting, ODIs have lost their way because they are quite frankly too long to go and sit and watch. If you're a fan of short form cricket, T20 is the way to go. ODI is a very long game.
For a young family, for the young cricketers, 100 overs is a long time to try and watch cricket for in one day. If you're 12, 13 or a 10-year-old. For an adult, like you get a few beers and you go out and have some lunch and you come back, have a few more beers. You can make a day of it. But for a young fan, it's definitely a tough watch, and you're better off watching it at home.
Time zones to fit an ODI and watch it from here to England or vice versa or India, it cuts across too many time zones where people are sleeping.
How would you then? Would you just get rid of the one-day game, or how would you change it?
You may make it more purposeful, which they're trying to do. Make every game go for points. Look at South Africa; they've just dismissed the ODIs and lose the points because they don't care. Now that's an intriguing move, really, and maybe a smart move in some ways. But realistically, you might just see the onset of World Cups for ODIs, and that's it, or preliminaries for a World Cup, and not have, because a tour is tests, ODIs, and T20s. It's too long. There are too many formats that are encroaching on it. So the idea would be play a full 3 tests and T20s and get rid of the ODIs, because they can't play 3 tests now. They can only play 2 because they're going to shove ODIs in there. So they're actually
not that they're going to, but also you're only playing 1 T20 a day as well. It's not like you're playing 2.
No, but you can play them back to back.
Yeah, you can play them, but they used to play one days back to back as well.
No, but look, the fact is that time-wise, it really if you want to play, when you and I all agree, you play 2 test matches, right? Where's the third one? Why it's not there? Because there's too much of the other cricket. So something's got to give, and it's got to be ODIs. You can play a full series of T20s, but you don't need to play a full series of ODIs, especially if there's no World Cup on.
Do you make the ODIs a second-tier competition where you have your younger players coming through and you're using that to blood non-test playing nations against Australia and the top-tier teams to give them a bit of exposure to first-class cricket that way?
Well, they're kind of doing that with the T20s, to be honest. But yeah, I guess.
So should they do that more with the one days and leave the T20s as a bit more of a first class, and the one days where you're playing 50 overs a day, so you can get like
But what's
in a
wrong with
T20.
ODIs altogether?
I reckon if you play our second 11 against Namibia or those sort of second tier nations to give them some opportunities to play against better players, then that'll make their game in their home areas a bit better.
Yeah, but there's been a major turn in the way that players are just getting too much cricket, right?
Yeah,
And
but
I know it's funny as well.
a second 11, they're not playing tests. They're not going to be they're playing Sheffield Shield, where the Sheffield Shield's all over the place anyway. So surely you can pull out your second best 11 and send them on a tour to Namibia or Zimbabwe or
that's what I've got no problems with that, but they're still putting it to another place. I mean, if Australia play New Zealand, they should be playing 3 tests, not 2.
Yes.
Okay, and they should be playing especially if it's in a cycle for a T20 World Cup. They should be playing T20s, right? That's what should happen. Israel can playing Pakistan. They're playing 2 test matches. They should be playing a third and getting rid of the ODIs. Okay, because the World Cups for ODIs were a bigger thing before, but T20s have taken over. T20 World Cups, IPLs, they're all 20 over games, and they're the ones which are shooting through the roof.
And plus the T20 World Cup, I think, comes around. It shouldn't be every 2 years. Make it every 3 years, or 4 years. Make the World Cup round, every 4 years, not every 2 years or every year as it's been. That was because of COVID, but it's still every 2 years, and that's too soon. Let it go out a bit. Let it 3 or 4 years, like the Olympics.
The thing is, it doesn't have any real. To me, it cheapens it when it's
having it every 2 years.
Yeah.
Like
you've got to. I don't know. I think there's a lot more at stake when they are a lot further apart rather than closer together. Because if you miss out this time, the players go, oh, yeah, well, it's only around 2 years anyway, so we'll go then. Where instead, if it's like 4 years apart, or even 4 years is a good round number, the players don't have a great deal of opportunity to then play as many World Cups. And then there's a lot more emphasis on...
This says it all for me. This says it all for me.
What? When player stats are judged on their greatness, it's always against test records. It should always be... Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But, when and that's because... But that's because we judge everything from as far back as to when cricket was first around. So, then you talk about Don Bradman and everything, and his were all test stats because they didn't play the short form.
They didn't play one day. They didn't play,
And that's right. And so that's where we then look at everything. But if, you have to look at the modern era, that you have to look at the modern day player and what they've achieved in this time now, you've got to give credit. So you've got the long form, so your test players that, with averages, and then your short form players.
Yeah. All right. Cricket is a good point here. South Africa chased against India. England recently chased against Pakistan, and now obviously Sri Lanka and Pakistan again. Is it chasing now successful in tests? It never used to be because, playing the 4 things is always seen as the worst place to bat because of the worst conditions. Interesting how it is changing. There has been a change.
Is that more the issue with pitches being a bit more? Well, it is because they're not breaking up as badly, and they're not as quick to start the game. Like those pitches in Sri Lanka, the first day was just about the same as what they were in day 3 or 4. So they're not changing a lot in that time. So they're not being able to chase runs is easier because the pitches are better. Yeah,
No,
20 years.
the pitch, its application to batting has changed.
No,
Australia
but
couldn't have
you look. No, in saying that, you look
its
at
application to batting.
no, you look at the pitches in India, for instance. Some of those first day pitches are drier than what a last day pitch in Australia is. So no wonder some test matches only go 3 days. It's only that the pitches are
You're putting
being doctored
X,
to make it
you're talking
easier.
about, George. We're not talking about the test finishing in 3 days. We're talking about a team chasing and winning. That's a different scenario altogether.
Yeah, but if you haven't got the right pitch, then they can't do that. If a
Yeah,
pitch is if a fifth day pitch is crumbling and going up and down and things are either hitting you in the ankle or hitting you in the chest, there's no way you can chase those runs, correct?
I would generally agree with you, but looking at what happened at
Generally,
Claws,
well, those pitches in Sri Lanka have been flat as, and they've been yes, they take spin and they've been spinning really well, but they're not. Their height is being pretty predictable, so it makes it easier to bat. You haven't got those day 5 pitches where one will scoot along the ground and get you out LBW or bowled, or one hitting you in the head and you're trying to fend it off. They're all being bowled and they're all coming off fairly even, and that makes it a lot easier to chase runs.
I think you've lost my question. Go back.
What was your question?
Forget the pitch. Forget the pitch. Forget the pitch.
But you've got to take the pitch into consideration.
No, but Pakistan and England have had desires to. They have thought themselves in a position where they can win matches and have attacked it. Only a couple of years ago, England went defensive.
Yeah.
Even Australia were defensive against Sri Lanka. That's the mindset. That's not even the pitch, because Sri Lanka got Australia on the back foot. They were playing and getting LBW and bowled and what have you, whereas Pakistan were on the front foot the entire time.
Yeah, but again, you're talking about two different continents where Pakistan are brought up on. They live and breathe spinning, playing spinners. We don't play spinners well. We never have. So you can't expect Australia to post big scores against quality spinners. We never will. We're just not designed. We're not brought up playing that style of cricket against those style of. Unless we can get a lot more spinners and play and doctor pitches to look like Sri Lankan pitches or Indian pitches or Pakistani pitches, we're not going to bowl. We're not going to bat well against those styles. So it doesn't matter whether it's a 4th, 5th, 3rd day pitch. We're going to struggle.
Okay, yeah. I can counter that by saying people go to county cricket because we can't handle the swing. They go there and play county cricket, right?
Yes.
Like, for example, what's his name? Pujara has done recently, right? Even Renshaw and Ella Shane did, right?
Luke
People
Buschank did as well.
Exposed to playing in India, which they are more and more, and they're getting better. I would argue Maxwell and players of that, even Warner generally, play spin a lot better than they used to because their exposure to the subcontinent wickets. All that tells me is they need more exposure. The same applies to Pakistani batsmen in Australia where they can't handle the bounce. They need to be here more. So I think that's more what needs to happen. But the way you do that is by playing more tests, playing 3 tests, not 2, playing a county match or a pre-match to get that going.
They haven't got the time. They're already complaining they're playing too much cricket. You can't throw in 2 or 3 bloody.
Get rid of ODIs, you won't have that problem.
Yeah, but it's India and the way they want to run the game. They want more 20s. They all want one-day games and less test matches so that their gambling friends can all make $1.
Well, I don't know whether they want less test matches. They want more test matches.
No, well, if they wanted more test matches, they wouldn't be playing 2-match series. So is that the ICC being, not having the balls enough to say, look, to be in the Test Championship has to be a minimum of a 3-game series, not a 2-game series, which is what they've done. So if they make it a minimum of 3-game series, well, then everyone has to toe the line. But they won't because India doesn't want that.
But isn't it incredible how New Zealand always seem to get 2 Test matches? I don't understand that.
The other issue is, even in Australia, you want to be playing against the better nations to get a bigger crowd. So, playing 2 Test series against Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, unfortunately, West Indies are in that bunch now as well, where 2 matches is probably as much as what the people want to see against them, rather than, if you want to be playing 5 against England and India and that sort of stuff to make it interesting. Hello, Paddy.
Yeah, I think they have to have more tests. They need to have 3 Test series every time.
Oh, look, I agree. I think they need 3. I think 2's just, well, you have no direct result from 2.
Well, you can if you win 2.
If you win 2. But predominantly
but
it's just
it's not. Yeah, but it's up to the ICC to, as we know, they've got no balls to put that into play and say, look, you have to play a minimum of 3 games, to be part of the Test Championship.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's a hard one. Okay. When player stats are judged, like we've talked about already, no one please again start IPL awesome foursome. I had an awesome foursome thing with the IPL. I'm not bored. IPL is not till next year, so we'll think about it next year. If Aussies seeing future, they need to back Philippe, McDermott, Inglis, and Green. Well, I think that's a very good point.
I agree with that.
Well, they backed Green, haven't they? Really? So, how many young players can you put in a team without,
No, not talking about stacking the team at all. No one's saying that, but they've got to. At the moment, they've only got Green.
It's hard to, if you've got Green, they back Green, but how many? Because Green really is one of those players where they said, okay, we're going to put him in. We need an all-rounder. Let's just back him to the hilt. You can't have 3 or 4 of those young players able to do that. So maybe 2, yes, but 4 is probably a bit too many. Okay. At the end of the day, if you're good enough, you should be playing. If you're not, well, then you shouldn't be in there.
Look, I've always been somebody who thought that you keep your side like the days of Chappell, Lilly, Tomo, Marsh. You kept that side for an indefinite period of time. You didn't blood new guys. It made it hard to get in. I agree with that. But when players aren't doing well and they're hanging on to their spot,
definitely.
Different story. Now,
well, how hard was it to get into Ponting's side or Steve Waugh's side? Look at Mr. Cricket. It took him forever to get into that bloody Test side. He was in his 30s by the time he made it. Got his first Test match.
And he left early on his own.
Well, but that's how hard it was to get into that side, and that's how it should always be, as long as the people in there are performing. I guess that's the caveat you got to have in there, that those players have to perform. And I guess those teams of Steve Waugh, Ponting, etc., were successful sides, and it was always those players. There was probably only one player every now and then that was probably with his head on the chopping block, sort of thing. Whereas now we're thinking 3 or 4 maybe should be there, shouldn't be there. So if you've got a fairly good 10, then 10 players that they're going to be in there all the time. It's going to be stability, and you're going to win more games than not. But Sam's right. We're struggling with subconfidence.
But like you said there, George, if they're good enough, you pick them.
Yeah. But they've got to be better than what's in there at the moment. They have to be. The hard thing is our Sheffield Shield at the moment is probably lacking a little bit. Yeah. So that's the tough part.
There's no time to play it. I mean, now they're trying to match the IPL by ramping up PBL and getting drafts and all this sort of shit. Honestly, you know what? I don't want them to try and match the IPL because they can't. We haven't got the money.
That's right.
We shouldn't be. We're copying it. We're bringing in this draft system and all this crap. It's just the money's just not there. They've got to be careful. Let the IPL be the premier place to go. Let the PSL and another like the CSL, let them be the three and leave it alone. I reckon. That's my thoughts.
No, everyone's got to have their own T20 comp, I'd say. It's like the Sheffield Shield or anything like that. We've got to be able to do our own thing. And if someone wants to pay money to televise and what have you, well, good for them. And the players are all making money. And you see all those young players, especially this year with the Heat, like they lost about 6 or 7 players due to COVID, and they brought in all these young guys who probably never would have got a bat or a go, and some of them did really well. There was a guy from Toombul, I think, played first grade Brisbane, and all of a sudden he's playing in a BBL game because half the team's sick, and he does well. So that gives him a bit of confidence going back. He can know he can play in this sort of arena, and then some other team will form and think, well, why don't we grab him?
Sebastian, you have had 5 hours of sending 3,000 comments. If I'm not answering all your comments now, I think you need to realise you've already given me 3,000. So don't tell me I'm not reading all your questions. For the last 5 hours, I've had you on another show, and you have answered 5,000 of your questions. So please don't say that's okay. That's not a nice. It gets me very angry when you say, Norman, take my comments. All my comments are getting wasted. I'm afraid your comments. You were telling me he went through about 30 players and told me to compare them all. Oh, I was going. It was big river nuts. So I'm giving other people a chance. Sebash, don't make me angry.
Don't get Norm angry, Sebash. Don't get him angry. There'll be hell to pay.
I give you a very good run for 5 hours, and now you want to continue? Let other people have a chat. Okay.
Yes. So who else we chatting with?
Sebastian's now laughing. I'll spank you with a big bloody stick.
Oh, Normie.
All he says is, hi, Norman. He has no chance in asking questions because he wants for 50 of them. Okay. All right. Now, all right. I need to get this clear, though. Do you think, giving young guys a chance, I get that, we're playing too much cricket?
Yeah.
In the world of cricket, there is too much cricket.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you look at this Australian team, all right? Have they really had an off season?
No.
There is an off season.
But is the issue that because the players now are getting paid so much more and the boards need to get more money, they need to be playing more so they can generate the funds to pay these players? So is that an issue?
Well, they're getting so much money, like they're making 10 million plus a year, these players at the top end, okay? Because they're playing too much and they're getting tired. Now, look, I'm not defending them, but we need to have a distinct time when a break occurs. I really think it's healthy for the game. For example, I'm not playing this winter stuff, and I don't mind that because, quite frankly, it's too much. Why the hell are we playing in July and August in Australia when we don't even
look? Okay, tell me this. Ben Stokes now, right? He's complaining that they're playing too much cricket and he's pulled out of ODIs, but yet he'll go play the IPL, won't he?
Yes, he will.
And that's something.
So why is that? But he's happy to take the money from the IPL, but he wants to have a break from his playing for his country. So to me, that's not right. But I understand that. But they can't complain that they're playing too much cricket and pull out of the ODI, but yet still want to go and play IPL and get the money. So pull out of cricket altogether and just go play the IPL.
But George, put yourself in their shoes. Are you telling me you knocked back several million for a few weeks?
But then don't complain you're playing too much cricket. Is my thing.
Playing, he's just stopping playing.
Well, he's complained that he's playing too much cricket, but yet he still wants to play the IPL. So
Yeah.
you either suck it up and get all the money and be done with it, because it's a short career anyway. Let's be realistic. They only play till they're 35, 36, really. So they've got 10 years of making money. So play 10 years of cricket every third day of that year. But, you're a long time retired, but don't complain that you're playing too much cricket, but then you want to go play IPL as well. Like, come
No,
on.
I can see that. But if Ben Stokes this time last year, well, end of last year, was out of cricket altogether. His father passed away. He was in a bad mental state. He had actually a mental issue. Okay,
Yeah,
so his situation's probably a little bit different. He's got other
yeah,
issues.
but that's not. But he has stated that it's because of too much cricket. He hasn't stated it's because of his mental health issues. So we can only go by on what he said. And if the issue is playing too much cricket, well then why don't you pull out of the IPL?
Can I be controversial?
No,
Can I?
just this once.
All right, look at it like this. When you state mental health and all this, and you say, well, his father passed away, and then, he's had to step back because of mental health. Big deal. My father passed away. I still went to work because I had to earn a living. It was because he was rich enough to sit on the sidelines and not be involved and take time away. Like, all you hear is all these excuses and everything else,
Yeah.
but yet they're willing to take all the big dollars that are thrown at them to try and do minimal as possible. You know what? Suck it up, princess.
All right. All I can say to that is your situation with your father, mine with my mother for that matter, it's very difficult to get up off your feet after that. I'm finding it hard still now. But yeah, I understand. The reality is, I think they're playing too much cricket. I don't care what the situation is financially. They're playing too much cricket. No cricketers should be playing all year round.
No, look, I have no doubt that they're playing too much cricket. But the problem is that the governing body has no control. That's the problem. That's where the biggest problem lies. If the ICC had the control, it's like with anything, all right? So you look at the Olympic Committee. They control what happens. So they control the meets and like the athletics carnivals and all that. So that way the athletes are primed for the Olympic Games. Okay, that's the pinnacle for a sprinter or a marathon or a high jumper or a swimmer or whatever. Their pinnacle is the Olympic Games or the Commonwealth Games. You look at, say, FIFA. So UEFA pretty much control all of Europe, and then whatever. I think they probably play. UEFA has too much control with the competitions that are happening at the moment, but FIFA has the final say. They really control what happens. And with the ICC, they're the boss, but it's really the Indian cricket that controls what's going on. They have the final say. That's the difference. And that's why all these players are playing so much cricket, because they're going, oh, well, we're just going to do this and we're going to do that, instead of going, well, this is your calendar. This is how it's going to be laid out. And this is where it's going to be. So you have this period to play your IPL. You have this period to play your test matches and your one days and whatever, and they should be laying out the groundwork. And
you're right. There's too many competitions. There's too many versions of things going on. Like Sri Lanka tried to throw in their one, which never bloody works. It never fits in. I mean, it's there's got to be some. They've got to start to really get it clear, and that's it. And no grey areas. This is the time you play this game. That's it.
There has to be some level of control. Like you need players to be able to have a downtime, and a downtime is, well, you look. So we went from what we played here, and where did we go? Then we played Pakistan, and then we went to Sri Lanka, and now next month we go to Cairns and Townsville, and then I think it's September we play again, don't we? And then October, and then we got the World Cup, and then we have our summer. The players don't have like a 4 or 5 week period of actual downtime where they get to relax and do what they want to do, because they're sort of, they'll have a week off, then they'll get back into training because they've got another competition to go and play, and then they'll play that competition, and then they'll have maybe another week off. Or where does it end? There's got to be a stop-start period somewhere.
Yeah, I agree totally. All right, let's go back here. Let's have a look at some of these questions. Okay, so Naresh in India said IPL is #1 league. He's right. Even though it's a financial reason, he's still right. And it really is. It's actually the best one. It's the best. It's the most watched, not just in India, but over the world. Always support India versus okay, that's good, Naresh. But George, the big names want big money. That's what they do.
That's all right, but they can't complain then they're playing too much cricket is my issue.
No, that's
That's
fine.
right. That's exactly right.
So Sam is saying Australia versus Pakistan World Test Championship. Well, it's going to be either Australia Pakistan or India Pakistan, or with Australia and Pakistan. They're the three that are fighting out 2 spots.
Yeah,
Australian team is dangerous. They certainly are. Sebastian says India versus Pakistan World Test Championship final likely. I agree with him actually. India versus Australia. It's going to be. I hope it's India Pakistan. To be honest with you,
why?
Because it's just more of a spectacle.
What?
They don't play against each other anymore. And test
Well, whose fault's that?
well,
Government.
It's political. It's not real.
Yeah, that's right. So that's.
I don't know. I think it'd be good for Australia if Australia were there, but we'll wait and see. The teams have to earn their spots, so we'll wait and see.
That's right.
Time will tell.
Yeah,
The two best, not necessarily the 2 best teams will be in the final, but there will be 2 teams in the final.
That's right. That's exactly right.
It's always the case with those sort of competitions.
Well, it's interesting how Australia didn't make it last time because of a points issue. That was interesting. All right, so love from Norman. Love you from. I'm assuming he's just loving me. Love you guys.
Yeah. You sure he's not one of your girlfriends in disguise?
No. I don't think so.
Know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't know.
All right, guys, we've gone an almost hour and a half. We've done well today. Episode 15.
15. Well, it's the original crew, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we're back.
Yeah, that's it.
Live
We're
on
back, baby.
And do you know, not once tonight did we talk about Callumvale Oval, 240
You just did that.
Saints Cricket Club.
Yeah, we didn't talk.
Up his 6'4" or his 240 somewhere. All right, guys.
Love you, Babs. Love you, mate.
All right, we'll see each other next week. All right.
Yeah, most
Yes.
We
definitely.
haven't quite reached 1.2 million with this episode. I can't say, but
I can't believe it, Norm. I can't believe it.
well, Sebastian, it's just asked now. Where is Babs? He is on a cruise.
He's on a cruise with his family.
Yeah.
He's on a boat, and I reckon he'll be getting corona.
I was down in Sydney last weekend. It's a miracle I'm still bloody alive. I haven't caught up anything off Norm. Who knows what he'll give me?
Mate, no offence, George, but fuck, I'm glad I'm here in New South Wales, because in Queensland it is rampant.
Mate, I can't catch it. I don't know.
Don't worry. Don't worry, you will, and when you get it, it will knock you off your feet.
I know that. It's a matter of time.
Yeah,
Just
not when.
not looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a Band-Aid here for my flu shot, and then I've got a Band-Aid here for my 5th or 4th COVID bloody booster.
Oh, because you're over 50, so it's a requirement.
And are you trying to tell me you're over 50 yourself?
I haven't had the 4th yet.
No, neither have I. I've only had the 3.
Yeah, well, yeah. I've only had the
Really?
30,000.
I've just knocked off my. All right, guys. We actually got more viewers all of a sudden. Where do they come from? Neresh says here just quickly: IPL 1, 2 BBL, 3 CPL, 4 PSL. Now I would say PSL better than CPL. I'd even say PSL second to IPL. Actually, they have a great tournament there, a really good tournament. Our BBL is shocking.
Yeah,
it goes too long. It goes too long.
And it just keeps changing itself.
I reckon
Well, it's got to keep changing, but it just goes too long.
I reckon it needs to be a 3-week period over that Christmas period.
Yep.
And then that's it.
Yep, I
That's
agree.
it.
Just stick to it, for God's
Short
sake.
and sweet.
Stop changing it.
Yep, because that will attract more people
Yep.
in a shorter period of time than what they will over a longer period of time.
Yeah. People just, you just get blasé and you just think, is it still on? It's like watching bloody one of those, or Big Brother or one of those shows that just seem to go on forever and ever and ever. Not that I've watched any of that shit, but anyway, that's
Maths.
or The Block. You watch, I don't watch The Block, but you see the commercials and it starts this month. By December, it's still going. You go, what the hell? Have they not finished the house yet? But anyway.
Well, it's 3 months. They show every day of 3 months.
But for 6 months?
What are you talking
just that things go for too long, like the BBL and this show.
Oh, they've stuffed it. They've made the BBL very ordinary. They really have.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
I have no interest in watching it. There's nothing excites me. I don't understand when it's finishing or when it's starting. It's just lost it for me.
But you'll go watch a couple of games though, won't you?
Oh, if it's at the SCG, I might, but you know what? I'm even losing because I believe in loyalty to a team, and I know the IPL changes teams, but you know what? They have got loyalty. They've always had Dhoni with CSK. They've had Virat with Royal Challengers Bangalore. They've had a semblance.
Yeah, but they're only there because they got paid bucket loads to stay there.
But that's still the way it should be done.
If you think someone else, if another team come with a whole heap of bucket load of money, they wouldn't have gone. You're kidding.
Hang on. But it was smart of the IPL to give Kohli a longevity with one club, as they've done with Dhoni and Rohit Sharma, because that's what we should be doing in Australia. We should have, say, I don't know, I'll pick a person, Cummins. We need to do that. We don't do that.
They had Chris
that's it. Yeah, but the other issue is when we're playing our BBL, we're also playing Test cricket or something like that. So those players, the Australian players, aren't actually playing the BBL because they're playing. They're in the Test squads and that sort of shit. So
up the timing, they need to have that when those players are branded to play for the BBL and not Test cricket. You know what? Virat Kohli and Sharma and these guys play for the IPL. They don't go and play for India at the time because
India's not playing at that time.
That's right.
Well,
that's the mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the mistake. Huge mistake. Really obvious. Pick a time and stick to a time where no Test cricket is played. And Australia can dictate when they're playing Test cricket pretty easily. And they know when they're not playing. They're not playing certain. That's when they play the BBL. That's it. And the Test players, or at least the marquee players, whatever they are, that are branded with a team play. Again, Cummins with Sydney Sixers. I don't know. I pick Usman Khawaja with Thunder. Whatever play we want to pick, they're branded with that club. And it would make sense to have, the Western Australian, Cam Green be with the Western Australian side. And that's what they should do. They should have done that.
Well, Maxwell with the Renegades.
They've stuffed it. They've
absolutely. Were they with the Stars?
Oh, the Stars. Same shit.
I mean, Glenn Maxwell, Melvin Stars, and Shane Warne, that was an identity with the team. Can you really tell me who's the main player of all the teams? No, you can't, because they change.
Yeah, Felipe with the Sixers.
Yeah, but they change. They're not. There's not a leading one or two.
Felipe's always been with the Sixers.
Yeah, but he's one example of none, really. There's not enough.
Chris Lynn.
Yeah,
Maxwell.
but Chris Lynn. Okay, but there's not many. I'm sorry, there are not many. It's not. Are you telling me the captain of Australia and the vice captain are playing for? No. Well, that's the first mistake.
No.
Yeah, we know that because they're just it's a waste of time of the BBL franchises picking an Australian player because they're not going to play.
That's right.
Well, whose fault's that? It's the fault of both sides. First of all, playing a game when they're not available, and that's dumb to start with, right?
Yeah.
And look, again, Cricket New South Wales, who run the Sixers and Thunder, have as their captain New South Wales Pat Cummins. Then they work out a time when he's bloody available and he plays. Okay? Simple as that.
Yeah, well, they've got to work out a 3-week period where they're not playing test matches and everyone can play.
Exactly. Then I'll watch it because I know it's worth watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you,
because then you've got the best 15, 16 players playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you take the top 15, 16 players out of any competition and it's shit.
Yeah. Well, prime example, okay? So you look, Australia won the T20 World Cup, yes?
Somehow.
Yeah, okay, we won it. So
we did.
Last year or this year, the BBL that just went past, how many of those players that were in that Australian squad actually played the BBL?
Don't know. Not many.
You know what I mean?
Finch played.
Yeah, Finch played. Maxwell played.
Because they're not in the test team. Only the players who are not in the test team would have played.
But you know what I mean? Like you look at that and you go, this team won the T20 World Cup. The BBL is T20. Why aren't these players that just won the World Cup not playing in the BBL?
It's a poor organisation.
How can you not? How do you promote a competition when we don't even have our own best players playing in that competition?
Madness.
It just doesn't make sense. It's crazy, ludicrous.
Again, you either make it first-rate competition, or you drop it back to be a second-tier competition, and you play second-tier players, and then everybody knows that that's the way it is. Not pretending that it's something that it's not.
Yeah, because currently it's a fraud.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Anyway, I think a lot of wise comments being made here, but I'm afraid we're not decision makers in the end, are we?
Look, if we were decision makers, everyone would be in trouble.
Hold on, I'll be back in a minute.
Charlie's barking. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to change normal or who changes it, but something needs to change somewhere.
Yeah,
and
I think
change quickly.
I think it's ruining some of the aspects of what's going on. Honestly, I really do, and I'm so knee deep in cricket now, as you know. I'm on every day, and I know that some parts of the world play more than others. I'm watching it happen, and I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I'm certainly getting a lot of exposure.
But it's not. But like getting back to the game, like our Sheffield Shield competition suffers. Okay, I remember a time when our test players, when there was no test matches, they were playing Sheffield Shield cricket.
Okay, their pre-season.
Was Sheffield Shield.
Sheffield Shield.
You chose your test team from Sheffield Shield. We don't even. Now
Yeah.
the Sheffield Shield starts when our test season's finished.
No, it's
Yeah.
bloody all over the place. Yeah, they used to play. Well, they used to play the 5-test series. You start in Brisbane. You had Perth was always somewhere there, and then Sydney and Melbourne over the Christmas New Year break, and then Adelaide was in
Like January.
Australia Day, end of January.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that's a long time for a touring team to bloody be playing or be out here, 3 months or something, and then they'd play. But in between the games, even the touring sides would play against the Sheffield Shield teams to keep going, and then the Australian players would be back playing Shield as well. So, too much cricket again, but that's how it used to be.
They've got to make it really simplistic and say, what are we trying to achieve? Organise the games around it. Don't budge, and even if something falls away, so be it. We stick to what things we know.
And then give the players the time away. Like give them their 5-6 week period. All right. So you look at it. Okay. So when Australia tours, say England, okay, that's in the middle of the year. Yeah. What's that? Like a June, July type scenario.
There's summer, our winter. Yeah.
Okay. So if we're going to tour England, and like obviously our season starts, you would say November, you would give the players that time off prior to that. So you would give them, maybe you would give them all of August off or all of September off. So then they've got October to prepare for our summer. And vice versa, that when we travel to England, you would give them the time off before they left to go to England, and then you would have a month to prepare for the tour so that they could get in shape. So you'd get over early, you'd play your tour matches or whatever so that the players find some form, rhythm, acclimatise, whatever. But they don't just do that now. They bounce from one country to another, to one format to another, back to here, to there. Like even touring around Australia is a big time zone. You go from Brisbane to Sydney to Melbourne to Adelaide to Perth. Like it's massive, and you just
it's not like England where you go on every couple of hours drive and you're in another test playing.
That's true.
Thing where you got to fly 2 hours to get to from Brisbane to Melbourne or Sydney to Adelaide or across to Perth. It's not as if you can just. It's an easy thing.
It's what? How far is it to Perth? It's 8 hours by plane.
Yeah,
not 8 hours, 5 hours.
6, isn't it?
Yeah.
Depends where you're going from, I guess.
But still,
Brisbane.
That's 5 hours on a plane, Norm. In England, if you're 5 hours on a plane, you're in America.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's wrap this up. Last question. We're going to all answer it. And then we're what's your Test champion? Final prediction, guys.
Australia.
Yeah, I'd like to say Australia. And
Australia, England. There you go.
England can't make it, you goose.
Oh, WTC. I thought it was, sorry, T20. Sorry.
That's what
Australia. Australia, India.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, well, I don't know. I might go with you, George. I reckon maybe Australia, India, because I get a sneaky suspicion that India might knock Pakistan off.
Yeah.
Well, okay. And I'm not saying Australia India is not possible, because it is. But the fact that Australia and India are playing off a test series is going to be crucial. Who wins that? and it could well be that one of those two teams, whoever wins that, will make it. That's kind of what's happening. Pakistan seem to have a good slipstream at the moment, beating Sri Lanka and beating England at home. If they do that, then Pakistan. I'm not saying they can't do that. Australia, India. I'm going to say India versus Pakistan.
And that's okay. You're allowed
That's right.
to.
You're allowed to have your own opinion, Norm.
Yes. I don't knock your opinion, Norm. I highly respect it. I may not agree with it.
Well, I don't know about highly respect it, but it's your opinion, and we.
High in a minute.
Look, your opinion means diddly squat, but hey, that's okay. It's your opinion.
To somebody somewhere, maybe it means something.
Yeah, but
Just
look,
not-
All right, guys, we're gone for 1 hour 45. It's a fantastic show. Episode 15, done and dusted. Eyes on Cricket, Norman Kostek. We're here with the gig, the Banter Corner, talking cricket. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Giuseppe. See you next
Thanks,
week.
Norm.
thanks,
See ya.
Norm. Thank you. Thanks, viewers.
Thanks.